But let's get into this controversy, the play that pissed everybody off. Here's how it sounded last night on Fox Sports 1.
Bouncing ball to the right side. They're coming home with it. The throw. Away from the catcher, Alvarado. Tom Hallion got taken out by Robert. Abreu goes in the third.
The ball hit the runner. Grandal was inside the line. The throw home hit the runner.
It hit his helmet, right?
He was inside the line, and the ball hit him when Gurriel threw it home. I don't think you can do that.
It's going to be a dead ball potentially here.
I don't think you can do that.
Dead ball potentially here.
Game was tied at that point. Whenever he slid in, scored the 7th run, the Astros would never score again after that. White Sox would end up getting 3 in the 4th, 3 in the 8th, on their way to a 12-6 victory.
The bigger story was more than just that play, too. It was Tom Hallion. It was the fact that we add another umpire to those in which we know their name. And when you know their name, it's never a good thing when it comes to officiating. And let's be real. Like, this is something they should be able to go to replay and look at, because all it would take was one view on the replay from home plate going down the first baseline to see how he almost leaned into it, whether you want to say he chicken winged or not. I don't care how many people are going to tell me, well, you know, it was a straight line from the batter's box. It was the route he was taking. Don't give me that horse bleep, okay? He was 3 feet inside on the grass. There was no freaking way that was his regular path to first base, and he gave it a little extra for loving. There's no way I was happy with that call.
That was the part of the frustration, too, was Hallion's strike 3 that he missed against Yasmani Grandal. Grandal would homer later in the at-bat, cut the deficit in half. It made it a competitive game again. It got the White Sox back into the game, and if he strikes out there, maybe the White Sox never get into the game, and then you couple this play that happened in the 4th inning on top of it. The problem that I have whenever you look at, whether you're listening to the broadcast or you're seeing what's being tweeted about it, you get a bunch of different opinions, and you get a lot of people saying words that do not apply to this specific play. Like you have base path. Well, the base path never comes into the equation unless it's a play at first base. So you can eliminate that from like any thought that you might have. And no one should be talking about that either, because that is not the play. You're not going to first base. Was Yasmani Grandal in a legal line to the base? Yes, he was, because the base runner makes his own line. So he was in a legal spot to where he can be wherever he wants, because he makes his line to the base.
That's the argument, too. Everybody said he could go to the pitcher's mound if he wanted to.
He could, but that's not even what's the argument here. And you pointed out to the rule that I posted yesterday on Twitter, Rule 509B, where it says a runner is out when he intentionally interferes with a thrown ball. Period. End of story. It does not say if he's in a legal spot on the field. It doesn't say if he's in a illegal spot on the field. A runner is out when he interferes with a thrown ball. That becomes a judgment for the umpires. That's the situation that they were in yesterday. In their judgment, did Yasmani Grandal intentionally interfere with that throw? And I think, again, if you break it down by replay, if you look at it closely, if you look at the still frames, to me, without a doubt, he interfered with that throw and should have been called out, and the runner should have returned back to the bases that they're at the time of pitch. Like you said, the fact that this isn't reviewable by replay is a crime. Here are a couple of other opinions. If you're listening to the FS1 broadcast, A.J. Przinsky, former White Sox, was on it. Also, Adam Wainwright, current Cardinal, is on it. Here's what they had to say immediately after the play.
He did that on purpose. He did that on purpose.
He did not do it on purpose.
Both big leaguers, part of the game. Przinsky, a heads-up catcher. He did it on purpose. Wainwright saying he did not do it on purpose. Two guys' opinions, valuable, right? They're in the game. They think that Yasmani Grandal did it on purpose.
I don't want to say this is the play that cost the Astros the game, because there were too many self-inflicted wounds from the manager. But that play was the game changer that basically put the nails in the coffin and said, yeah, okay, from this point forward, it just looks like it is not going to be your night.
Kyle Tucker, his big day at the plate's like all but forgotten because of all the controversy that went on yesterday. You're up 5-1 going into the bottom of the third. Look, I understand that there was a bad call to Grandal where you get strike 3 there. Maybe a pitch later you're out of the inning. Instead he hits a 2-run shot, and they cut the deficit in half. The problem that I had in that inning, though, Luis Garcia facing the leadoff man, Luis Robert, in the inning, like you cannot walk dudes when you're up 4 runs. He was up in the count 0-2.
He did a lot of things that you're not supposed to do. The cardinal rule in baseball is when you're up 4 or 5 runs, when you've got a big lead, stop nitpicking the corners. Start throwing more strikes because it's in your favor. It's going to be to the advantage, and also avoid these walks. So that was a massive issue, and then that just led us into Dusty being Dusty yet again, and there were multiple Dusties that I just kept scratching my head going, I want to like this guy so much. I can't side with decisions he's making as we feared in the biggest moments of the year.
The biggest decision of the first decision came later on in that third inning. After the Grandal home run, the White Sox got a couple more on base. He was still in the game facing Lurie Garcia. He fell behind in the count 2-0, and then at that point, mid-count, takes Luis Garcia out of the game, brings in Yimi Garcia. 2 pitches later, Leroy Garcia hits a 3-run homer, and the White Sox are in front.
Okay, it's 2 separate situations. The fact that you skipped the guy that was more ready to get in there and pitch to get the guy that hadn't warmed up yet and expected him to get outs, but then after all that damage was done, you thought it would be wise to bring him back out to start another inning when the pitchers that you're going to use in place of him, whether it be Greinke or Javier, are made for starting a clean inning as starting pitchers by trade. That's what they really feel most comfortable doing. That's where you should have done that. It made 0 sense. And then on top of that, Jeremy, the one thing we're missing in all of this is Yimi Garcia. He's lucky to be on the roster. He should only be a situational relief pitcher with right-handed hitters. It's the only time he gets guys out. Instead, he comes into a lefty and gives up a monstrous bomb to a guy that's not known to hit any bombs, and it goes over 430 to dead center, and you're going, oh my God, this is our biggest fear that you and I were setting the table for as we get ready for the playoffs. As much as it drove me nuts to give guys rest and do all the little quirky things that he was doing leading into the end of the regular season, the one thing I kept saying to you was, Dusty, you just can't do this during the playoffs. These are where these decisions can send you home and be the difference between moving on or moving out of your office. This is not good.